Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. This morning it is from my home office. I hope the sound is okay with you. This is the daily technical update, and let's get on with it. There are lots to cover. We had US market moving a little bit higher yesterday. S&P 500 still in the cloud here. Still below RSI on 60 here, still below. But what is interesting is if it can break above 45.40, if it can close above, then we are in bullish trend, we are in bullish sentiment and potential higher levels. And that's really something to look out for here the next couple of days. We have Nasdaq also moving a little bit higher, very close to 15,561 resistance, and also the RSI. Keep an eye on that. If it breaks above the 60 level, then we are in a bullish sentiment also on that front. European market moved higher yesterday, and it's following through today. We had the DAX index that paused yesterday at the upper falling trend line, but now it's broken back above. It is still in a bearish sentiment, but if it breaks above 16,060, then we are in bullish trend, and it will also be confirmed by an RSI close above 60. And so that's the level to look out for. We are still around these 100 moving averages here, just below the cloud. So really key levels to look out here for here the next couple of days. Strong bounce in AX Amsterdam after very close to testing the 730 support level. Now we are looking at 750. It could break above, but it's a very strong resistance level. It could break above. If it does, well, then there's room up to 760, 763, and then it really will be interesting if that plays out. However, as mentioned previously, we have 55 breaking below the 100 moving average, which is really not a bullish sign, to say the least. But let's see here the next couple of days what will happen. Belgian markets also higher this morning, actually trading above the 36.96 resistance level. It's not the strongest one, but it's an interesting one. Next one will be the 200 moving average that could be tested. And what is interesting is currently we're just below the 60 RSI. So that's two levels to look out for. Will it close above 60 or not? And will it break above the 200 moving average? And then we are back in bullish trend. We are back above the cloud. So that is also an interesting occurrence. CAC 40 has really moved higher and is currently in a bullish trend. If it closes above 7,405, then it is in a bullish trend with a higher high above the cloud and RSI above 60. But let's see where will this Friday ends, and that's really the key. Can it hold up or not? And it is LVMH that is really driving it with a move higher above about 3%. On the FX front, euro dollar traded lower yesterday. We didn't see a correction, but maybe this time we will, because 106.35 is a really key support area. And if we look at the weekly chart, we can see how strong it is. 55 weekly moving average coming up, adding to the support. Also, if it breaks below and if it closes below, we actually dipped below a little bit overnight. But if we close below on the weekly, then the uptrend we have seen on the weekly has been reversed and cancelled. And it's also, you can see I highlighted down here, the 40 level on the RSI, weekly RSI. If it closes below, then we are in a negative sentiment also on the weekly, but it could bounce from here. So that's really something to look out for. Will it break? Will it bounce and test the upper falling trend line? Euro sterling, really not much to say. Was rejected the upper falling trend line. Cable moving lower. We have trading around the 200 moving average. Really interesting, but we are in a negative sentiment. We are in a bearish trend, and I think we will see 123 being tested fairly shortly. Dollar yen trying to find some momentum, and maybe today it will. Look out for an RSI break above and close above the upper falling trend line here. That is really key, and if it can close above these small peaks here, that will also be interesting. And then there will be room up to around 149, 150 on dollar yen. Euro yen actually dipped below the support at 156.85 overnight, but it is bouncing, and I think it will keep bouncing. I think we'll still keep in this range here. We could move the range down to 155 and a half, but this is the short term the range we are in, so not really much going on there. On the other hand, Aussie yen is on the move, broke above the upper falling trend line, and also now above the 95 resistance. I think we will see higher levels in coming days. There is some resistance at 95, 85. A break above that, then we are in business with the moves up to around 98. These peaks over here is likely to be taken out, and or at least be tested. So that's really something to look out for. And if we are looking at the Aussie dollar moving from the 63, 64 level here, and I think we could see a move up to 65 and a half, possibly up to 66. And with the divergence, you can see these values down here, they were higher than these ones, but market moved lower. So there is a divergence and weakening of downtrend. I think we will see a bounce. It could actually be a double bottom down here, and then there is room up to at least 66 on Aussie dollar. If it takes out, slides back and takes out 63, 60, well, then downtrend has resumed. The dollar index also moved higher, obviously. There's room up to 105.78. It did look like we should have a bit of correction, but that was a very small one, and it seems like we could move higher here in coming days. But we still have divergence on the RSI. It needs to break above this falling trend line here. But 105.80 is the key resistance. I'm not saying we will get there, but it looks fairly strong. But you can see here on the weekly wire, it's a key resistance. If it breaks above, then there's not really much resistance higher up. Gold bounced from its 1900 level, just dipped a few. Did it? No, didn't dip below, but testing this support level here, moving back higher, and as I mentioned several times before, I think we will see it being range bound between 1900 and 1950 here for the next couple of weeks. Silver bouncing this morning from testing the very close to test the support at 22.15. It didn't really make it. I think we'll see silver moving back to around 23.50. In this range here, maybe a little bit higher, but we have the 100 coming down. We also have the 55 and the 200. So I think that will be the range here also the next couple of weeks in this area here. Copper, not really much to say, to be honest, with still hovering around the 382, which I will call the pivot. So no really direction there. Crude oil moving higher, and it has reached 200 or 2.0. Projection of the latest correction here. Actually quite interesting. Still room up to 98.75 medium term, but I think we will get a little bit of correction here in a couple of days. But the trend is really strong at the moment, and there is room up at least to 98.75, where there's some strong resistance. On the WTI, same picture of course. Or more or less, also reached the 176.4 projection. It has room up to 93.5 level until it meets some strong resistance, and I think we will reach that and probably also break it, and then there's room up to around 105. The treasuries, US Treasury yields, here's the 10-year. It got beaten down a couple of days ago. Yesterday moving a little bit higher, and now it seems that we are really making an effort to move towards previous peak here as 436. and I still think we will see US 10-year trading around 448 here in coming weeks. It looks fairly strong uptrend. Finally, let's just briefly touch upon the Eurobond future. It's not the yields, it's the Eurobond future. It did bounce off this 130.14 support here. It's not really a bottom and reversal candle, but it should be observed. But with the sell-off today, then it could be tested here, possibly today or going into next week. But that's really something to look out for. If this support here holds, well, we could see a test of the upper falling trend line. That could be key. All right, that's all for today. There will be a written report on Aussie yen and Aussie dollar. And there's only one thing to say. Have a nice weekend and happy trading.